Hello, it's Jeremy Fisher here reading from my book, Why Do I Need a Vocal Coach? Stories, Tips and Hacks from the studio of a voice expert. The Singing Audition, Some Advice. Auditioning for musicals, the cattle call. Here's the first of 3 articles I wrote on the process of auditioning for a West End or Broadway show. If you want to audition for musicals on Broadway or in the West End, and you don't have an agent, you need to go to the open call known as the cattle call. This article describes the cattle call, what you need to take, and what you need to do to succeed. There are new musicals being written every year and long-running shows being recast regularly. But there are thousands of actors, singers, dancers seeking work in musical theatre. You want to be heard for the roles in these shows, but you don't have an agent. Where do you start? Every year, production companies run open calls. They are particularly useful if the show is new or in an unusual genre, grunge, folk, rock, tube and throat singing. If there's a serious lack of actors with the relevant casting requirements, ethnic casting or tightrope juggling, or if the casting directors simply want to know what's out there at the moment. Open calls are usually advertised in the theatre press, the stage newspaper in the UK as an example. The open call can be quite a demoralising process. Not for nothing are they called cattle calls. So this article will help you prepare for them. The first thing you'll see when you arrive is a long queue. Depending on how popular the show is, the queue could be 3 times around the block or just a small crowd. Be prepared to stand in the queue for several hours. Even 15 years ago, professional singer friends of mine were kept waiting for 7 hours on the auditions for Nuns in The Sound of Music. What should you carry with you? Your resume or CV and a photograph are essential. If the photograph is not attached, make sure that both the resume and the photograph have your name and contact details on. Photographs and CV details often get separated, and it would be horrible if the panel remembered your face but then couldn't find your contact details on the photo. A bottle of water is vital, and either a book or an MP3 player is useful to while away the hours. You'll give your name to the audition's usher or stage door manager, and the audition begins. If you're lucky, you'll have about 2 minutes to get on stage, introduce yourself and do your audition. If you're unlucky, you'll have 16 bars. If you're unlucky, they will ask you for your best single phrase. How do you deal with this? Remember that the purpose of this audition is not to get the job. If you're up against 1,000 people or more, nothing you can do will make you stand out enough to be offered the job on the spot. Your mission is to get asked back for the first call, the first invited call as opposed to the cattle call. Therefore, your task is to appear professional, calm, and focused. That's it. If you look professional, dress appropriately, perform to a good standard, interact well with the panel, you will be noticed. If you seem calm, you'll score points too. Cattle calls are difficult situations with a lot of unknowns, such as not knowing what time you're going to perform, and a vast number of people breathing down your neck. If you're focused, you will be able to sing your piece to the best of your ability and lock into the character immediately. Being focused really reads well on the theatre stage, so the panel will notice very quickly how well you do. When I'm coaching for the 16-bar audition, the key is to practice everything. The walk-in, the hello, the piece announcement, giving the pianist the music or the backing track, the getting into focus, the 16 bars, decided beforehand, please, and the exit. Everything matters, including the way you talk to the audition's usher. I work to help you choose song extracts that show your best, and it's not necessarily your loudest or highest, and to sing those extracts to the best of your ability. Notice I haven't said what you should sing. Ultimately, in a cattle call, your choice of song is less important than how you sing it. I've been on cattle calls where actors singing the weirdest songs have been called back for the next audition simply because they sang it very well. In a situation like this, you want to stack the dice in your favour as much as possible. Take a piece you know well. That way, if nerves strike, you'll still feel secure in your song. Panels find cattle calls just as horrible as you do, and believe me, they breathe a sigh of relief when someone professional, calm, and focused turns up. There's usually 3 piles in front of a cattle call casting panel. Yes, no, maybe. The only pile you want to be in is the yes pile. And if you give clear, focused professional performance and follow the rules in this article, you're much more likely to get to sing in the next round and stay in the yes pile. To find out more, get yourself a copy of Why Do I Need a Vocal Coach in ebook, paperback or audiobook format, or to work with me in person, go to bit.ly/workwithjeremy.